Hello Bitcoin world and welcome back to my channel. It's Brian here, the UK Bitcoin Master, back with another video in my series Bitcoin for Beginners. Today is Monday the 12th of October 2018 and crikey, we are cracking towards the end of another year, aren't we? Before we get started on the topic for today, as always, please like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, bash the bell button, follow me on Twitter, Steemit, DTube, BitTube, all that UK Bitcoin Master. And also in the notes sections below, there'll be links relevant to this video if needed. There are links to buy a Trezor hardware device, t-shirts. There's a link there to my video archive, every video I've ever done. So previous shows, do check out the notes sections below. So today I want to talk to you all about storage options. Now again, I am now directing this video at newbies in the space or people just looking to get into the space. So if you're a bit more advanced, this probably isn't going to be a video for you, but certainly worth sharing on so that we get this message out for newbies coming into the space. I've got to say that going forward, 2, 5, 10, 20 years, whatever it is, you won't need to know any of this stuff. It will be literally like when you pay with a credit card, a debit card. You don't see what goes on behind the scenes, but there are lots of hoops that purchase goes through before it's all dealt with and all it's all accepted, because you don't need to see any of that as a general public. But because we're so new in the crypto space, it's a really good idea, I think, to learn the basics of what goes on behind so you get a bit of an understanding. And in terms of Bitcoin, I want to talk to you about storage devices or how we can store our crypto, some secure, some not so secure. So this is a simple short video going through the different options that are available. Now we know, because as per my videos, I give you 3 top tips and I'll give you them briefly. Number 1, clearly get on an exchange like either Coinbase or LocalBitcoins, go through your KYC process. They're going to want that, know your customer, get your account set up, and then obviously buy some Bitcoin. Of course, then what happens, your Bitcoin then sits on an exchange. Okay, let's call that a custodial account. What that means is they hold your Bitcoin for you. That's option number 1. So my 3 top tips: buy some Bitcoin, then get it off an exchange onto a hardware device, and then wait it out for the halvings, obviously. But if we break that down, when you first buy your Bitcoin, once you bought it, I remember when I first bought mine, it was like, oh, what a sigh of relief, I own some. And then of course, as you learn about the ups and downsides of owning cryptocurrencies, you start to realize that leaving your coins on an exchange is an absolute no-no. If you look through the archives of YouTube, you will see all sorts of videos and Twitter topics out there that talk about the Mt. Gox hack, several years ago, where, I think tens of thousands of Bitcoins were lost because a big custodian, however you say it, got hacked. So what I'm trying to say is this: if you leave your Bitcoin on, say, LocalBitcoins or Coinbase, you do not own your coins, they do. If something goes wrong with that exchange, if it gets hacked, if it gets closed down, if it gets some kind of virus, your coins potentially are gone forever. Okay, so what I want you to do on this particular video is liken your, say, 100 quid investment to maybe it's grown in 10 or 20 years to 100 grand, say. Yeah, just for argument's sake. How would you feel if you lost that because an exchange went pop? You wouldn't be very happy. So I always say, treat your initial investment like it's your future fortune. Okay, respect it, and leaving it on an exchange is a no-no. So like I've said, you have got LocalBitcoins, you've got Coinbase. They're the 2 common ones where people edge into the crypto ecosystem and buy themselves a little bit of Bitcoin. So step 1, once you've bought some, brilliant, well done you. You've done what probably less than 1% of the world have gone and done, and that's bought some Bitcoin, and I applaud you for that. So what we then need to do is look at where we should store the Bitcoin. And as I've already alluded to, do not keep it and store it on an exchange, whatever you do, because they can be hacked. Okay, so what do you want to do? Well, you want to get it off an exchange. So getting it off an exchange, where do you put it? Okay, when I first got into Bitcoin, it was, the space is moving so fast. The ecosystem is growing, developing so fast. And yet, back in mid-2017, the only way I was told to store my coins, to get them off an exchange, was onto a paper wallet. And paper wallets can be very effective, and they're free. But again, if you lose your paper wallet, if there's a flood, if it's stolen, if there's a fire, you've lost your Bitcoins forever. And think of 100 quid versus 100,000 quid again. Would you like to lose that sort of investment? Of course you wouldn't. So whilst paper wallets are great, there's a big downside. One, obviously they can be stolen, they can be, natural disasters. So again, if you're using paper wallets, and again, they're free, and I've just put a website up on the screen where you can actually, create yourself a paper wallet. My advice then would be to print that out and get it, put it away, have 3 or 4 copies of it. My actual advice would be, don't use paper wallets. And I'll tell you why. Whilst they're great and they're free, the problem with them, since I've been in the space, we've had several Bitcoin forks. And when there's a fork, it creates what Adam Meister refers to, the Bitcoin Meister, as a crypto dividend. So if you own Bitcoin and you own your keys, when there's a fork, you get the dividend. For example, Bcash was born. Bitcoin Cash, they call it. We call it Bcash because it's not Bitcoin. Okay, that I feel very strongly about that. Bitcoin or BTC is Bitcoin. Anyway, so Bitcoin Cash or Bcash was born, and then we had B Gold. So what actually happened was I had paper wallets when those forks took place. So what it means is, whilst I own my Bitcoin, let's say you have 1 Bitcoin, they also gave you 1 Bcash and 1 BGold, okay? But they're on that paper wallet. And even today, as I do these education videos, for the life of me, I'm scared to death to try and, I've got my paper wallet still, I've got the keys, the private keys that you need to unlock them and get your coins off. But I'm scared to death to try and get my crypto dividends off those paper wallets. And again, if there's anyone out there watching who wants to help me out on that, fantastic. Connect with me. My email address is below. But I'm too scared to do it because it is not easy right now. Okay, so paper wallets are great because they're free and you can create several of them, but you really want them scattered around, one in a bank vault if at all possible. But they're not ideal. If you need to move your coins quickly, they're not easy to move from a paper wallet, because the first thing you've got to do is move the coins from the paper wallet onto something like blockchain.info and then move them to where you want them to ultimately be. And again, when I first did that, I've done that now with my Bitcoin, scared me to death. The thought of losing my Bitcoin, it made me feel sick when I was doing it. If the transaction didn't show up instantly where I moved them to, which I'll come on to in a moment, I went into blind panic. Oh my goodness, have I lost my Bitcoin? But of course I hadn't. But it's really that, being so unnerved because I'd never done anything like that before. So when it showed up on my hardware device, it's like, get in there. I felt absolutely fantastic about it. But in terms of my crypto dividends, of course, they're just still on those paper wallets. I'd love to get them off the paper wallets, of course. So again, one of my friends out there, Twitter, YouTube, if you want to give me some help, please, offer. Fantastic. You scratch my back, I scratch yours type of thing. But anyway, so paper wallets have got their upsides and they most definitely have got their downsides. Exchanges have got their upsides. It's simple. Someone else is looking after it for you. But the downside, if the exchange goes under, gets hacked, there's a virus or anything, you could lose all of your Bitcoin. And that's really scary. So the third option is to get your coins off an exchange and onto a hardware wallet, hardware device. So it's cold storage, it's completely offline. Okay, now there are several options out there, but there are two that sort of stand out at the moment, head and shoulders above all others. And one of them is called a Ledger Nano, and there's different versions of it. And the other one is called a Trezor. Now, I cannot talk to you about Ledger Nano because I've never used it. I don't know how it works, so I can't advise you on it. But what I can advise you on, and I do consultations on this to help anyone actually set up their account, buy some coins, and then move it onto a cold storage device. You know, consultations that might be a fraction of a Bitcoin, but means your Bitcoin that you're amassing is completely safe. And that is the Trezor. I use the Trezor. I've just popped an image up for you to have a look at of the Trezor 1. There's now a new one, I think it's called a Model T, but I've stuck, or Trezor T or something. I've stuck with the small Trezor because I like it. I'm familiar with it. It works fantastic. And it means that your coins are now in your possession. They're not somewhere where you can't access them easy. I'll talk about that in a moment. They're not on a custodial or custodian account. So if it gets hacked, you lose your coins. Now you're in control of your coins because they're on your Trezor. Now, when I first got my Trezor, I had all sorts of worries and concerns about, well, what happens if someone steals it, or it breaks and won't work, or there's a fire and I lose it. Rest assured, when you get a Trezor, and again, links below if you want to buy a Trezor, you get a couple of cards inside the Trezor box. And on that, as you plug your Trezor into your computer and you go through the setup process, it starts to give you your 24-word seed. Now, what you do is you write that down, and write it down on both the cards, okay? And then when you've written it down safely in the order that they give it to you, now you've got your, what we call your recovery seed, okay? So if somebody steals your Trezor with your Bitcoin on, they can't get into it. You know, you need to be a pretty impressive hacker to try and get into that because of all the cryptography that goes on in the guts, if you like, of the Trezor. So if you buy another Trezor, you plug it in, it asks you for your recovery seed, you put that in, and straight away it recognizes those seed words and you've got your Bitcoin back. So massive relief. So you then have a little keypad come up. Just popped an image up so you can see what the Trezor keypad looks like. And you set up your own 4-6-digit code that you choose, random numbers. And every time you plug that in and you go to the Trezor website, never go to click on a link in an email sent. Always go to the Trezor.io website. There are phishing sites out there that want to hack your Bitcoin all of the time. So again, you know, yes, you've got your Trezor. Yes, every time you plug it in, you've got to put your code in, otherwise you can't open it up. So if someone steals it, if they can't find your code, they can't steal your Bitcoin, in which time obviously you can get another one and then go through and put your seed words in and recover your Bitcoin off of that Trezor that got stolen onto your new one, and you're completely safe. Okay, now something else that I've recently learned, which is also very, very important. So you get your Trezor, you get your Bitcoin onto it. When you set it up, you can choose as many accounts as you like, and the Trezor sets you up a wallet ID, if you will, and you can put you put it on there, and it goes into, let's say, account 1, and it puts onto that wallet for you. But what actually happens is, in the back office, Trezor then creates a second random wallet and a third random wallet. And the way you access those wallets is through the send, receive. I can't remember which one, but I'll put an image up on the screen now for you. And it shows you how you can see your different wallets within the account. So obviously when you open up the Trezor, you've only got the standard account, and you can create account number 2, account number 3, etc., and as many as you want. Okay, so the one thing I've learned, if Trezor send an email with a firmware update, okay, you need your recovery seed cards safe. Don't ever instigate a firmware update until you've got your card with you, because when it does a firmware update or a software update, it wipes your Trezor. So your Bitcoin's not on there. The way you get your Bitcoin back on there is you go through putting in your recovery seed. Now, here's what I've recently learned. You don't ever put your recovery seed in on a computer word by word. What you do is you click the advanced recovery button and you follow the instructions, and each word is randomized on your keypad. So don't ever, and I did for a couple of times, it was only one of the more experienced Bitcoiners that has a YouTube channel that said this to me several weeks ago, and I was horrified because I'd done that a couple of times. But by putting your seed word in on your computer, you are exposing that to hackers if they've got some kind of malware on your computer. So always, always, always click on advanced recovery and then put your seed in by following the advanced recovery instructions. So this is just a brief video about how you get your Bitcoin, where you store your Bitcoin. My advice, because I've been there, whilst paper wallets are perfectly, functional, I wouldn't use them. They're a blooming nightmare, and they scared me to death, in all honesty. Buy a Trezor. It's the best thing you'll ever get. The Trezor website, I think at the moment, are doing them quite a chunk off at about 75 British pounds. I mean, I bought mine, I think it was 109. So it's a good deal at the moment, and whilst that seems a lot of money if you're trying to just get into Bitcoin, just keep in mind that a 75 quid Trezor, if you build your Bitcoin, if you accumulate more, like a savings plan every month over a couple of years, that Bitcoin portfolio, I hate the word portfolio, the Bitcoin accumulation as it gets bigger is going to be worth way worth more than the cost of a Trezor, and it's secure and only you can access it. I mean, there's loads more to learn about the Trezor, but a short video there. Number one, when you're trying to get into the Bitcoin community, is register with LocalBitcoins or Coinbase, links below. Buy some Bitcoin. You've got to go through their KYC process. Do that. Buy a bit of Bitcoin and then ignore the paper wallet, in my opinion. Get a Trezor and then get it from the exchange straight onto your Trezor. Now, you've got to do that correctly, guys. If you do it wrong, you can lose your Bitcoin again. That is why people like myself and lots of others do, Bitcoin consultations to help you with that very scenario so you don't do it wrong. The only reason I know I can help you is because I did it myself, even though it was scary and I could have lost some Bitcoin, and I actually did it correctly. And since then, I've moved my Bitcoin and bought more Bitcoin, so moved more onto my Trezor. So in my opinion, when you're dealing with an asset class like Bitcoin that can go up and up and up and up and up, do it right the first time round, because the worst thing you could ever do is maybe buy, I don't know, a tenth of a Bitcoin, maybe £600 or something, and then in the future down the road you lost it somehow, and you see it all over the media as being worth 6,000 or 60,000 or whatever it's worth, and that will make you feel sick. So it's so well worth using someone that's got a bit of experience ahead of you to get your Bitcoin from that exchange directly onto the Trezor hardware device. So that's our show for today, guys, all about storage. As always, if you found this useful and other people would find it useful, please share the video, like it, share it, subscribe to my channel, bash the bell button so you get notifications when I post videos like this. Do follow me on Twitter at UK Bitcoin Master. I upload these videos through DTube, so you can find me on DTube again at UK Bitcoin Master. DTube uploads it to Steemit. If you're watching this on Steemit, I'd appreciate an upvote and a re-steam as always, guys. And that'll do for this video. have a strong hand, buy your Bitcoin, get it on your hardware device, onto your Trezor, and then wait for the 2020 halving. By goodness, that 2020 halving is really creeping around fast. You know, come May 2019, we're a year away from the amount of Bitcoin being produced every 4 years or every 10 minutes with the blocks, or 12 minutes, is cut in half. And that makes Bitcoin even more scarce, which means price goes up. Scarcity creates price appreciation. So get some Bitcoin now. Right now, November 2018, without a doubt, you could not choose a better time to buy some Bitcoin, no matter how small, because it is really as close to the bottom as we think it's going to get. And from here on in, it can only ever, once the bull run comes, start to climb towards the moon. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, share and subscribe to the channels and blah, blah, blah. Check out the notes sections below, and I will catch you all on Thursday. Have yourselves a phenomenal Bitcoin day. Cheers, everyone.